On my daughter's 16th birthday, it wasn't a gift that was revealed, it was a truth, a DNA report. The fathers of all three of my children were different, and they were the very men sitting at the same table, smiling. I didn't raise my voice. I just stayed quiet, because that very night I made a decision that changed everyone's lives. Mom, what is this? My daughter's voice was shaking, but she wasn't screaming. She held the paper out toward me. A white envelope. Written across the top in bold letters. DNA paternity report. We were all sitting at the kitchen table. The cake was in the center. The 16 candles hadn't gone out yet. My husband smiled and said, "Are you kidding me? Who brought this?" I took the envelope. I looked at him. Then at my daughter. Then at my two sons. All three kids. All three sets of eyes were on me. My hands didn't shake. I opened the envelope. Took out the first report. Read the name. Then the second. Then the third. If this moment made your chest tighten and your questions grow, stay with me. Subscribe to hear how this truth unfolds and why silence sometimes becomes the strongest choice. The room went quiet. The kind of quiet that's louder than noise. "Mom?" my daughter asked again. "Please tell me." I took a deep breath. "We'll talk later, okay?" He said, "No. Now." My husband pushed his chair back. "This is messed up," he said. "Someone's playing a joke." I looked at him. This isn't a joke. The color drained from his face. 3 other men were sitting at the table. My husband. His business partner. My cousin. All 3 were smiling like nothing had happened. I laid the papers on the table. 1 report in front of each child. "Is this true?" my older son asked. "Dad?" My husband didn't say anything. The business partner tried to laugh. "Come on. This is wrong. Labs make mistakes." I said, "I had it done at 3 different labs." My daughter stood up. So our fathers?" I nodded. "All 3 of you have different fathers." No one screamed. No one threw a plate. The candles stayed lit. The cake slowly melted. "Who are they?" she asked. I looked at the 3 men sitting at the table. "Them." My younger son said, "What the hell?" My husband said, "This is insane." Then he went quiet. I said, "The party's over. Kids, go to your rooms." My daughter said, "I'm not going anywhere." I said softly but clearly, "Please." She paused. Then went upstairs with her brothers. The door closed. I looked at the 3 men. "How we talk?" My husband said, "Why did you do this?" I said, "You're asking me?" He said, "Yes." "Why?" I pulled out a chair and sat down. Because the truth was going to come out. Today or tomorrow. The business partner said, "Were you planning to blackmail us?" I said, "No. I was planning to protect my kids." My cousin said, "You're exaggerating. It was years ago." I said, "Exactly." They went quiet. This didn't start in one day. It took years. I always thought of myself as practical. Walmart runs. School pickup lines. Drive-through coffee. Life was simple. My husband was busy with work. His business partner was always at our house. My cousin was part of the family. No red flags, at least none I noticed. The first time I felt something was off was when my daughter was born. My husband was at the hospital, but the business partner was there all the time too. He said, "You need help." I thought he was just being a good friend. Then my older son was born. This time my cousin was involved in everything. "Family sticks together," he used to say. Once I said, "You guys are way too involved." My husband laughed and said, "You're lucky. Everyone cares." I believed him. Last year a message popped up in a group chat. By mistake. The business partner sent it to me, then deleted it. But the notification stayed. "Miss you." I asked, "Who was that for?" He laughed and said, "Wrong chat." I let it go. Then a voicemail. From my cousin. "We need to talk. About the kids." He called back right away. "Sorry, but dial." I let it go. I kept letting things go. As life was moving. Kids. Bills. But one day I decided, enough. I scheduled the lab appointments. I didn't tell anyone. I hid the papers in a drawer in the garage. Every result said what I already knew deep down. I didn't make noise. I made a plan. I met with a lawyer. Pulled bank statements. Checked property ownership. Business shares. Everything. That night in the kitchen I said, I'm done. My husband said, with what? I said, with all of you. The business partner said, let's be adults. I said, adults don't do this to kids. My cousin said, are you trying to punish us? I said, no. I'm setting boundaries. I stood up. By tomorrow all 3 of you will talk to lawyers. A trust will be set up for the kids. No contact without my consent. My husband said, you can't do that. I said, watch me. The next day I went to school. Picked up the kids. Got drive-through coffee. We sat on the couch at home. My daughter said, so, what happens now? I said, we'll be okay. She said, are you sure? I said, yes. My older son said, I don't want to see him. I said, you don't have to. My younger son asked, is this my fault? I said, no. Never. That night my husband texted, we need to talk. I replied, through lawyers. The business partner left a voicemail. Let's fix this. I deleted it. My cousin showed up in the driveway and said, you're ruining everything. I said, you did that. I closed the door. Took months. Court dates. Agreements. The trust was set up. Therapy for the kids. I put the house in my name. I stepped out of the business and took the payout. We relocated. A quiet suburb. A new school. Today we're okay. Not perfect, but safe. My daughter is 17 now. One day she said, I'm proud of you. I said, I did what I had to. I never screamed. I never made a scene. I stayed quiet. Because decisions are made in silence. And that decision, made that night at that table between the cake and the candles, was the one that changed all of our lives. If this story moved you or made you pause for a moment, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Your support truly helps these stories reach others who need them. Thank you for listening, for staying till the end, and for being part of this community. It genuinely means more than you know.